Okay, well, we seem to. You guys, if you guys don't know, our studios are located in Lake County, which is kind of mountainous. So we are having a few technical problems, and we're working on them right now to bring our panelists back on. I just can't believe that I was told by the team this would be fixed. So let's just see
And
if
if
we
you're
can bring
following
them
me
back
on
in.
Facebook, I put that post up there. So if you follow at Sharice Gilliam, just go to Sharice Gilliam on Facebook if you want to get that post and share it with other people. I am just amazed at how long it has taken for women to just even be considered equal, let alone Black women be considered equal. And, which is why people are coming out of droves. Because we fought a lot to get a few rights, and then now we're getting our rights taken back. We're doing it reverse.
Yeah, because one of the things too, right now, I think what's really motivating a lot of women is that they, again, based on all the information that you said, but as well as they don't want the government to be able to make their decisions for them.
Right. Well, if the government doesn't make decisions for me, the government doesn't make decisions for everybody else. Why should the government make decisions for us? I don't understand that.
They're trying to make the decisions for the right of our body. So what you do is cannot do with our body.
We fought long and hard just to get these few rights that we do have right now. We just heard the whole thing, right? And it's not even just rights over our bodies. There was a period in time when we couldn't even own a business without a man signing on to it. But what happens if you're a single woman? You can't own a business. You have to have your dad, your brother, both sign on to it. Say you could be able to even operate a business. But they took away your right to body autonomy. What would not take away your rights to own your own businesses? What would make us not go back to skirts? We had to get a right to be able to wear pants. What would make them not take away the right for us to
Absolutely,
put us back
you
in
guys.
skirts?
Right now, I think what's really motivating a lot of women is that they, again, do you want me to look at the well, what I say is that I'm glad that the polls are showing that more women are getting out versus men. It shows the power of women. I mean, like once we really come together, I mean, women are so powerful. So I'm really excited to see what can happen. I know one of the polls are closing, or if it hasn't already closed right now. So I know it's going to be a long night ahead of us because there's going to be so many ballots that are still going to be in the polls and needing to be counted.
Yeah. It's going to take a couple hours, but it shouldn't be long. We're going to know Georgia tonight. We'll not know 100% of Georgia, but we'll know 80% of Georgia. And listen, here's the thing. If we get Georgia, we celebrating. It's the trickle. We get Georgia, it's a trickle. It's a trickle.
And I think
Georgia's first sign. We'll see. Right? Now, but I'm still being on, more importantly than who you voted for, it is the reason that you voted. I've been having this conversation all day about it is not about who you vote for, it is about your right to vote. And don't squander that right. Don't squander that. It took a lot for us to get these rights. Don't squander them. Take that seriously.
And I think you guys have a right.
It's kind of funny though, real quickly, while you're saying that, some of the poll places, because of the lines are so
And I
long.
think you guys. So I want to actually go to the board. I want to go to Al Jazeera and take a look and see what they're saying about this. So let's actually bring up Al Jazeera here. Let's see,
I have some back feed. Do you have back feed?
Because I thought it was very interesting, the fact that I like to go with I want to say non-biased, that's really a thing. Let's see.
You have some back feed, David, I think.
And I think you guys have a right.
So you can hear whatever you got playing over there is playing in the back too, so you should just turn it down.
It's kind of funny though, real quickly, while you're saying that, some of the poll places,
Do you
such
have
as
it
the
playing
line,
somewhere on the phone?
And I think you guys. So as you guys can see, we have, apologies, we have Al Jazeera. I was trying to see if they had it real time, but as you can see, I want to see where actually early elections are kind of coming back. As you can see, the entire world is watching this. Let's go to the chart so far where we've got, now this is as of last night. They haven't been updated, but this is what they're showing right here. Harris, well, of course, Harris is leading in California. I think that's a
Well, these
given.
are
We all
polls,
know that
though.
Harris is
These
going
are
to lead in
polls.
California. But let's see. Let's go over here to CNN and what they got. Final hours of voting underway. Let's see. Trump team offers hopes to drive. Are they seriously trying to get in?
Polls, though.
Those are polls.
So that's not real voting results.
Okay. So election night in America, live coverage. Let's see. Trump team efforts to drive American voters. Okay. Let's see. Let's go in and let's see some actually polls here if we could. Let's see. So as you guys can see, we have 5 minutes ago. Okay. You know what? Let's see. Let's go to the BBC. Here we go. 5 hours of promoting. Okay. As you guys know, as we get closer to this, we're going to start. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Poll tracker. Let's see what we're looking at here.
So these are polls
Okay.
trackers.
Oh
These
my
are
God,
not
this
the
cannot be
actual results
real
coming in.
right here. Right now, she's leading by 1 percentage point. Are you serious? Are you serious?
No, these are polls.
Oh my God.
These are not.
This
election
cannot be.
results.
This cannot be real. 1 percentage point.
Dude, that's a poll. That's not an election result.
yeah, those are just polls. The first poll is polls.
Yeah, the
Right,
first.
not votes
the
counted, you guys. Let me tell my producer. I know it's people polling, but polling as national as 1 percentage rate right now. When they're doing the polling, that's what they got. I don't think that's a real number. That cannot be a real number.
No,
1
that's
percentage
not.
point
It's a poll.
against total
It's a poll.
Armageddon.
It's not a exit poll. It was just a national poll that was probably done days ago, but it's not an exit poll. You would need to do either real-time stats of what is coming in with the I don't think any state has elected offices has announced what their ballot counts are yet. So you would need to find an exit poll. Oh, David, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute. I was trying to look up something here, but yeah.
David, you're on mute. Oh yeah, let's scary movie.
Yes, there's no results yet. I get it, just polls. But even when they're just polling, 1 percentage point is what I'm saying. That can't be real. That's all I'm saying.
No, it was real from a particular poll at a particular time on a particular day. I don't know what day that poll might have been right after the convention or right.
I'm not sure, but what I do know is that I'm not looking sure the data that he's looking at, but I do know that right now the first poll closed and there's nothing been tallied or counted yet, but the first poll has closed.
The first poll was closed. Okay.
And I'm just paying attention right
You're
now.
absolutely right. There's no numbers aren't in. We're probably not going to get anything till at least 4 p.m. Pacific time. I get that. I just think it says, oh, got to tell you guys something.
David, you're on mute.
Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
But even when they're just polling, 1 percentage point is what I'm saying. Okay, we went to vote today. As you guys said, I told you guys earlier, we're kind of in a rural area. And as we're going to the poll, there is a car or van, and it's got a big poster on it, and it's got, and we've seen these before, so it shouldn't be anything new. It's got a big picture of Kamala in a rifle scope, like with a target on her head, and it said Trump 2024, and I just find this so crazy because of the fact that you don't see Kamala saying let's kill Trump, but his supporters are literally. But that shouldn't surprise us because they tried to hang his vice president last time. So, but just like I mentioned yesterday, that they were, I think it was CNN had did this this interview with people on the street with Trump rallies, and some of the supporters were like, if he's not elected, just know it's condition one. And they're like, well, that everybody was saying condition one. So finally asked somebody, he said, well, just know people are gonna get killed, condition one, if he's not elected. And I'm just like, seriously,
Here's the thing.
this is crazy.
Here's the thing. I remember a time when your parents taught you, your football coach, your baseball coach, your dance teacher, they taught you to learn to be humbly when you lose. You know, have a humble loss. You go and you shake your opponent's hand and you say, good job. There's only one, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. You only got two people. And it's like any team. One team has to win, one team has to lose. Both teams can't win. Somebody, and there's always somebody rooting for the other side. But when that team is played and the game is over, you were taught to be respectful, shake each other's hands, say good job, and then go back and learn from the lessons of what you didn't do correctly. You teach your kids to be respectful and to be humble and to treat the other side cordially. When do we start to degrade the office of the president with an F Biden? There is no way growing up I would have ever heard any adult say F the president. You just didn't do it. It just was a line you didn't cross because you had more respect than that. You didn't F the office of the president. You didn't care if you didn't like his politics or if he didn't agree with you. You have never said F the president. Never.
Well, you know, it's really about, as we talked yesterday, about leadership. This is the type of leader that we don't want to lead our country.
Right.
And it goes to show when you know what true leadership is, those are things that you wouldn't say. And I love the fact that Kamala Harris is not focusing on that. She's out trying to reach the people, trying to, she's even picking up the phone to make phone calls. Trump is not even at the location.
Right. But I think it's more than leadership. I think it's also the cult, the tribe, and the people. Because you could have a world-winning coach on a football team, but his players still don't have that decorum and respect, and they go out and do different things. I think it becomes back to how we, as a people, we used to have this ingrained in us, and we would spread that to the next generation, to the next generation. It's somewhere in our laws where it's okay to say things about people, look at people certain ways, say anything you want when you want to. And now they are really adamant about wanting to say what they want when they want. And there was a time when, you know what, women couldn't wear pants. You were taught to be, cordial and respectful. Okay, yeah, we need some freedoms. Then there is some lines that we need to draw too, right?
I agree. I totally 100% agree. And again, that's like you mentioned, it's a part of our growing up, what we, learned as a children all the way up to our adult years, that, respecting the highest office and just respecting adults, period. And you're right, somebody got to lose, but let's hope that the person who loses can, lose gracefully and give it up gracefully.
But that's the thing too, is that because when he won the first time, we didn't try to burn the country down. Listen, let's be clear. We could have burnt the country down when Bush won, because that was stolen with the Supreme Court, okay? Because that was the real, true definition of stolen election. We all know Gore won, came down to the crazy bubbles on the ballots in Florida, it went to the Supreme Court, and we all know who was at the Supreme Court handed Bush the win. That was a stolen election. But the country didn't go crazy. We didn't just start beating up stuff and tearing things up and try to go up, and you didn't see Bush say, every woman should start burning bras and going crazy. We didn't go crazy, right? Somebody had to
No,
win, somebody had to lose, and you had to take the loss, take it on the chin. We took it on the chin and moved on.
yeah, but you have to see the people who you're dealing with. You know how people said that they would show themselves. This is really how they are, and we already know that he is not a person that plays fair. You know, like when you're talking about the games and the coaches, you know, he's not one of those teammates that's going to play fair because he wants to make sure that he wins at all costs.
Right.
And it has to be up to the people. And I got to go back to the leadership of the country and what we're going to face that can lead us into the right direction and let us know that this is not how we're going to conduct business moving forward.
Yeah, and it brings back some decorums. It allows you to be cordial and courteous, right? It allows you to say, like Michelle said, when they go low, we go high.
That's right.
It allows you to say, you know what, open the door for somebody, and somebody say, thank you for opening the door for me. You know, it will allow us to get back to some norms that, you know what, I lost. Sorry, okay, take it on the chin, keep it moving. It allows us to say, you know what, congratulations, you won. What happened to those days when we shared on the picture? See, that's what we're really wanting. It has nothing to do with him or her. It has everything to do with, we like to just bring the temperature down back to the country. You know what? We need to fight for rights. We should have some rights in this country. And we need to fight for them the right way with, you know, getting out there and doing protests in the street, making signs, you know, advocating for our cause, but not beating people over the head, shooting and killing people and hunting them down the streets. No, we got away from that, and we need to get back to decorum.
But you know what? It's like people got to have the right mentality. And I think with this election, that's what's happening right now. Everybody's is got their own way of thinking because some of his base is wanting to go back to where, you know, the slavery and you know, how they treated us and things like that. So they have something that they want to get out of them, you know, is within themselves because they have been conditioned that this is how things are supposed to be, but it's not. You know, it's not a divided country.
Yeah. I also thought that when Fox News lost the Dominion lawsuit, that the temperature would come down over there, that they would start to not push so many lies and fabrications. They didn't skip a beat. They did not skip a beat. They didn't skip a beat. And that's another piece of it too, is they own so many syndicated outlets that it's almost hard to know when you're watching Fox and when you're not. And, you know, with that, it makes it, once again, we need to bring the temperature down, bring decorum back, bring respect back. We can agree to not have the same opinion, but still be respectful to one another. You don't have to believe in Roe v. Wade. You don't have to believe in abortions. But you can still respect my opinions and my situations, right? Everybody's situations is different. And I tell people all the time, Roe v. Wade is not about abortion, it's about health care. And it's about a bigger picture than that. But you should be able to hear me out and listen to my opinion, and I can hear you out and listen to your opinion. If you say, hey, I don't want to vote, and I can say, well, I think you're squandering an opportunity that was given to you, but I can hear you out, and I can say, hey, you know what, you didn't vote. All I can say is that when you don't vote, and you get mad about things like what's going on in your child's school, or the schools are dilapidated, or the roads are bad, or, you know, wages are not higher, or you're mad, all I can say is remember all those initiatives on the ballot that you didn't vote for? Well, that's because you didn't vote. So,
well, you know,
but we can be respectful about it.
agree.
Huh?
I always say we can agree to disagree.
Absolutely. And that's okay too, because we can agree to disagree. So once again, if I said, oh, I'm not voting, then I would be like, that's not a problem. It's not even a concern for me because my voice was heard in the places that I needed it to be heard. And I know that I'm getting things I need because I'm speaking up. But it's okay because when you don't get the things you don't get, the things that you want and you need and you don't get them, then I'll remind you this because you didn't vote. But it's okay. I don't have to go beat you over the head. I don't have to threaten you. I don't have to tell you that we wanted to some World War IV, right? Merely because our side didn't win.
Yes, yes.
We don't know what's going to happen tonight. But here's what I do know. Tomorrow, me and you will wake up, whoever is the president, and we're going to keep 2 feet in front of one another and moving forward. It may be things we have to do different. Maybe we have to get out there and be more vocal and write up some petitions and go out and do some protests, and maybe we have to move things differently, but that doesn't mean that we need to burn the whole world down.
Yes, yes. You know what? Here's what I want to say too, based on that, what you just said, about getting our voice heard. I love it, the fact that Kamala Harris says, are you ready to have your voice heard?
Yes.
And that's what today is so about. Are you ready to have your voice heard?
Ready to have your voice heard.
So you know what? This is going out to get vote is getting your voice heard. I think that even as we go into the polls, I just kind of want to jump on that since, it's out and everybody's doing their thing. Some of your polls, find out what time your local poll stations close. But do not get discouraged, because I know there's some things going out right now with the lines being so long. They have notes literally at some of the poll stations saying go to another location.
Right.
Do not do that. It's just a distraction. Stay in line. Are you ready to have your voice heard? Make sure you stay.
Well, you know what, too? And again, it goes back to the thought that for like a year, they've been saying, plan your vote. Plan your vote. Take your snacks. Get your water. Know where your polling place is. If you don't have the option to mail in your ballot, you should mail your ballot in already. If you have the option, you have to go to a polling place. If you didn't have an ID, go get it done. We've been saying plan your vote for so long. What makes people go, okay, I'm gonna wait all the way till today, and then try to go and get an ID? Are you kidding? What happened to plan your vote? And you can't say you're busy. You can't say you had life things going on. Can't say you've been working, kids. You just been playing.
That's right. But here's the thing, though. A lot of people did plan, and just like you said, in the state of Atlanta, I think there's 70% of the people that has already either mailed their ballots in or already voted, or took advantage of the early voting. So that is amazing.
Yes, it is. And they door knocked. My aunt, 60 plus years old, she was door knocking this morning. Bless her heart, in Georgia. Bless your heart. She works for the prison system, and she was like, girl, we gonna vote. Again, it is not always about who you're voting for. You're in a red state. You probably got 5 people voted blue, okay? So, it's just how it works in a red state. We love you. But it isn't about the fact that who they voted for at the top of the ticket. There's a lot of things that are going to impact you locally that are also on that ballot. And my thing is always the locals, right? Those local initiatives, you really need to know what's going on with those. I was one more point I'm gonna make is about the local initiatives, because we always think about the presidency and that's it. But the president can only move so
I guess I'll take it for granted.
That's what we should be really worried about. Go ahead.
I take it for granted because I guess I'm taking it for granted. I'm sorry, you guys, because I'm just like, when I go and vote, I just get out the car, walked in. There weren't any long lines. There wasn't anybody making me feel like I was part of the Arkansas 6, where I was like, got to be protected to walk in. Even though I am in a probably Republican area in the state of California, it was easy for me just to go and vote. And I've seen some of the videos of people, going to vote early this morning in the South, and they had like they were doing the South, they were doing like carpools, and they had entire church congregations marching, singing songs. I'm like, damn, I guess I'm really taking this for granted. But I mean, ever since I really could vote, I've never had a problem with voting. It's never really been a problem where I felt threatened. So I'm trying to see, I don't know what I would do in that case. I'd probably be like, are you serious? I'd probably be so taken aback, like, are you seriously yelling at me? And, I just saw a video of Roland Martin yesterday where this guy was voting. He was in North Carolina, and there's no electioneering, which was a new term I just learned. And he had Go Brandon. I don't know who Brandon is. I mean, y'all can educate me. But and they said, sir, you got to take off your hat. And he was like, I'm not going to take off my hat, B. And it was a bunch of black women, and this is a white guy. And so they were like, we're not going to let you vote. And they were within their right to deny him voting because he was electioneering. and he was just throwing his hat at people and everything. And one lady was like, she was ready, but there were no men in that polling place. It was just all women. And I'm just like, the fact that he had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to call her out of her name, to kind of assert himself as if I'm a white male and you're going to do what I say, you're going to let me do what I want to do. And I'm seeing a lot of that from the Trump campaign. Like, if we don't get our way, we're going to kill people. And it's just crazy. And it's like, we're all so taken aback. Like, are they really thinking this? But somebody said this was always America. We just never saw it. But now they're being forced out and they're upset. And so you're seeing more of it. I passed by, when we were going to the store, there was a trailer park. And I'm not, because I've lived in the ghetto, I'm not knocking anybody. But it was dilapidated, it was crazy, and it had a sign that said Trump 2024. And I'm like, don't you know he don't support you? You're not going to benefit if this man's elected. But you will do that because you think that it will put you in a better position than a person of color. And that's crazy as hell.
So it's not a thought. It's not a thought. It's need to be will. He will always have a privilege that other people won't have. So he knows that. So it will put him in a different position. But also, they're very good about it. They can vote against their own interests because their interests still going to be better than our interest at times. So, we have to be mindful of that. But also, too, just going back to what you said about electioneering, and them being able to walk in, you can't walk in with, just to educate people, you cannot walk in to a voting place and anything to do with elections. You couldn't walk in with a t-shirt that said Harris Walls or Trump, whomever. You can't wear the Brandon hat. You can't have anything in that has an election related item on it. You have to remove those from your shirts inside out, whatever, when you come into vote. So just to bring people up to speed on what that is.
Yeah, like they've been saying it over and over on the television, what you have to do, what you need to bring, and, kind of just giving you some safety guidelines and measures for when you walk in there, so you don't have to be faced with that. One of the things I want to talk about, or just mention real quickly, they were just talking about the behavior of people that are being treated at the polls. Right now, we need to look after and take care of our elderly, because, a lot of people are targeting them when they're getting there to vote.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of different incidents and things been reported that, they have been really harassing the elderly. So if you see someone who's elderly, please, watch after them, take care of them, and make sure that, they can go in there again and let their voices be heard without any consequences or anyone bothering or disrupting them in that process.
So tell me this, I just want to know.
There was a time when we did it automatically.
Do you guys think, and I know this is, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I saw something I'm not sure, nowadays you just never know what's real and what's not. But I think it was something, and you just tell me if this is real, from the Trump camp that said he believed that if he was elected, he would just make it one day where everything was legal. And he said we'd really get rid of all the bad actors. And somebody said, this man talking about the purge, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but I was like, is he really talking about making the purge a thing? So
yeah,
I'm wondering,
he said he would unleash the military to just for a couple hours start shooting people. That's what he said. You can look it up. It was part of the rally. He literally said he would just allow the military to start shooting immigrants and people that look like me. Okay. Yeah, and he said it was at a rally. Believe him the first time.
Why is this man even, and he's a convicted felon, he is convicted. He was convicted. So I saw a lot of people saying, well, he's not a convicted felon. People were like, no, he was. No, the Supreme Court's going to overturn it. He's convicted. Why? How can you, I guess you can obviously be a president and be a convicted felon, convicted rapist, and all this. But if you have a felony, you can't vote. But you can hold the presidency.
Well, now, see, that's a misnomer, too, because they changed the laws based on state. So state by state will determine if you can or cannot vote based on your prior felony convictions or not. If you notice that Donald Trump, his conviction was in New York, which he could not vote, but he moved his residency to Florida. The Florida Constitution changed their constitution with, I forgot his name now, the one who was running for president also. He changed it so that you could be So he made an exception so that Donald Trump could vote today in his own election. So it goes a state by state basis. It's not a federal rule across the board. Each state has their own rules as to who, when, and how, and all those stipulations. So the Constitution says you're 35, natural citizen, and American people would have enough moral standards to figure the rest out. So normally we wouldn't put convicted felons in office because most of them go to office and then become convicted felons. But I guess he did it the same way too. So we will normally don't put you back there again. So we'll see what happens this time.
Do you guys think that, to be honest, if he loses, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be non-biased, y'all, but Kamala all the way. If he loses, do you guys think that in some parts of this country, people are going to start getting killed?
Yes. And let me say this. This doesn't always have to do with just him. People are deranged. Please elaborate for me.
You know what? I think it goes back to their mentality. This is how they have been. I mean, like, it's already been there, but now he's giving them the okay to go ahead and do what they've always wanted to do. You know, to go back to where things used to be or how things used to be. Like Kamala Harris said, we're not going back. We're not.
You know what? And I think people say this thing of now he's allowing them to do it now. But it was always there. We had Ku Klux Klan would just put on a gown and go out and hang. There were times when they wouldn't put the gowns on. They just would go hang people and snatch boys and girls. And this was always there. So I'm not sure why people keep saying that he's giving them this new authority to do it when they've always done it.
Well, they've always done it, but now if they can do it, even in broad light, you know, like
they did it in broad light before. You can think of thousands of cases where people were killed in broad daylight.
That is so true. I think that it's giving them permission. I mean, like legal permission. You know, like how they say, you know, certain marijuana is legal. I mean, it's like it's
see, the thing I think is that they've always had permission. What happened was we were beginning to make inroads to not allow those permissions to exist. That's what happened, because they've always had this permission. They've always done these things. They were doing them. They will be continuing to do them. We started to erode away those permissions. We started to make becoming part of the Ku Klux Klan not acceptable. We started to make it not to be good company to be with them. We undid Jim Crow laws. We were making progress to put it in a position where this was not acceptable. And that they decided, no, we're not having that. Because it's always been a permission standard for them to do it. Right? We were slowly eroding that permission standard. And this is what he came back and began to reverse our eroding of those permission standards.
You know, I think, like you said, whoever is, you know, becomes the president, you know, now I feel like we have to still do what's right, you know, in our eyes. I mean, we still have to be the person that, you know, can make a change.
And we really need to stop worrying about the presidency. We need to be worried about the 435 seats in Congress. That is really in the Senate.
Yes.
Our eyes is not on the problem. The problem is in the who controls the House and the Senate.
Right. Well, you know, I think because it's just so much focus on this part right now. And like we talked yesterday, we lose sight of everything else because this is the main focus. And we listen to all the rhetoric and we're listening to, you know, everything that's happening. And we miss the mark on what we really should be focusing on. Again, it's all about that education.
And here's the thing, honestly, even if he was to win, it wouldn't matter if we had a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, because they would have the control and the levers, and they would be able to block all these things, the craziness that he put forward. It's just that he had people in positions that would do what he wanted. A lot of this he didn't even want done. These are people around him that wanted that stuff done, who they came into his administration and just went crazy with it. Okay, these are people who were citizens at one time, but this has been their life dream to torture people, and they got into his administration because they have access to money. Went down to Mar-a-Lago, had dinner with him, went over to the post office building and bought, a bank of rooms, hung out and bought their way into White House positions and structures, and then they created nothing but havoc. And that is where we need to keep our eye. Who are all these appointments?
It's all about the power, like I was telling you earlier. A lot of decisions are made through the people who had the power and the money to put him where he's at. He's going to owe some pocket favors, right? He's going to have to owe some pocket favors, and to make sure those people that he owed the pocket favors to is who's really going to be running a whole lot of what we got going on here.
And this is a problem that we've been having all the way up until now. The problem that we've had is that he brought in a lot of people who were very wealthy, who were around him, and they had some devious things that they wanted to get done. And that's how things were getting done. We had a few people who were the standard permission piece, right? The generals and some of those people, we don't even have those guardrails now. Them are all been let down. They have completely said, hey, you know what? Next time around, we'll go get all our cronies and put them in here. We don't have to need these guardrails. These people that was in positions because they didn't know better. Now they're like, we can clear all this. It talks about how in 2025, how to completely reinvent the federal government. Be scared. That's where we should be fearful. It ain't about the top of the ticket. It's about all those appointments, who's running the federal government, who's running these agencies, who's in that 435 seats in Congress, who's in those seats in the Senate. This is where we should have our concerns, and those bubbles on your ballot is the most important bubbles ever.
That's so true. Well,
I'm just like, let's see, I'm looking here, you guys. So this is Al Jazeera. Looking at right now, the polls. Let's see where we're at. We know in Georgia, let's see, it's about 3 o'clock California, so in Georgia it's 6 o'clock. When do the polls close? I think we're looking at
7
I
think they close 8 in Georgia. 8 in Georgia. But at 7, they'll do an update, and we'll get those first numbers out of Georgia. So what you're seeing right now is where it says 226 expected, and 44 needed, and then 219 expected, and 51 needed. This is based on the map because some states are going to go, they typically go the way we know. Like she's in Oklahoma, you can make that red. So that 219 is already based on what we know is going to be red and blue. Right, we're going to come down to these 7 states. So if you did all the standard states, California, the standard ones that are going to become blue, that's where the 226 comes in at, right? But it's Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and the last one I forgot, right? Those 7 will flip to whichever direction on the battleground states. Right? So if you wonder why does it say 226 or 219, because that's based on what we already know is going to become red or blue.
Okay. So is it possible, you guys, is it possible
So
for us?
If you go to those buttons, you can probably move them around. It'll show you your path to victory.
Let's see.
Can you click on any one of those states?
No, let's see. I'm not getting.
Because it should let you place it where, like, if you picked, like, for example, if she gets to Georgia and Pennsylvania, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Right? If she doesn't get Georgia or Pennsylvania, she needs a 3 blue wall.
So
right? I think they expect to go to her tonight.
okay. See, here's what I'm wondering. It's not moving. You see, there's nothing in yet. I'm wondering, because I really need you guys here when the results come in. I'm wondering if we can take a break and can I have you guys come back in an hour where we start getting some numbers in? Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's try that.
That'd be great, you guys.
And I'll try to send you a map where you can click on it.
Okay.
Because I think if you go to CNN's map, you can click on the map. We can play with, let's take a guess on what we think will win. And it'll show you which way it ends up based on which states win.
Okay, great. Okay, great, you
CNN
guys.
has an interactive map.
Okay, so this is great, you guys. So we'll be back in about an hour. We start getting some numbers in here because then it gets interesting. I start getting excited.
See you
All
then.
right. Thanks, you guys. All right. Bye-bye.